Macon, Georgia, 1952. Everyone knew Anjette Lyles and her restaurant. She was the pretty blonde hostess that hugged every customer as they came in, and they all gathered for the food that made people's mouth water. However, her secret ingredient would cause a media frenzy and would expose the greed and the dark underbelly that lurked within. Born in August of 1925, Anjette Donovan's childhood and family life is mostly unknown. What is known is that in 1947 she met and married Ben Lyles. His family owned the Lyles restaurant in Macon, Georgia. And not long after that, the two had two daughters, Marcia and Carla. Everything seemed to be going well for the couple, up until the very moment Ben Lyles sold the restaurant for $2,500. Not long after that, Ben Lyles mysteriously fell ill. He complained of fever, chills, and even coughed up blood at one point. In January of 1952, Ben Lyles would sadly pass away, leaving Anjette a widow with two children. She worked her fingers to the bone to get back the restaurant, and she did. She reopened it as Anjette's, and needless to say, it was a huge success. Everyone talked about the pretty blonde hostess that hugged every customer as they walked in, and people lined up right outside just to get a whiff of the smell of the food that was cooking. Anjette was renowned as a great cook. It was also during this time that she met and married a former military vet, and for the next 6 months, Anjette Lyles' life was back on track. That is, until her new husband mysteriously fell ill with the same symptoms as her first. And it wasn't long after he fell ill that he died. And while many felt sorry for Anjette, a lot of people began to voice suspicions. None of which more than her former mother-in-law, Julia. Julia told anyone that would listen that Anjette had two dead husbands, and she knew for a fact her daughter-in-law was responsible. And not long after making those statements, Julia too fell ill with the very same symptoms as her son and Anjette's second husband. She too would mysteriously pass away, and while police weren't necessarily suspicious, doubts began to wander when Marcia, the 9-year-old daughter of Anjette, mysteriously fell ill and died, and when they examined her body, arsenic was found. Coming up, was Anjette Lyles innocent or guilty? It was 1958, and Anjette Lyles was a suspect. Unofficially, police were receiving tips that Anjette Lyles may be poisoning people around Macon, Georgia. Police began to connect the dots when Anjette's own 9-year-old daughter mysteriously died, and Anjette had her insured for $25,000, which was unusual considering the fact that children are normally supposed to outlive their parents. And when they dug a little deeper, it turned out that Anjette Lyles had life insurance policies on everyone who mysteriously passed away around her, from her two husbands to her mother-in-law, and that was enough for police. They went looking for Anjette and they placed her under arrest. Anjette Lyles continued to maintain her innocence, stating that she had did nothing wrong. However, the media sensation that ensued was one for the books. And needless to say, that wasn't the only accusation that was thrown around on Anjette. (1958) Macon, Georgia. Anjette Lyles found herself on trial for the murders of her two husbands, her mother-in-law, and her 9-year-old daughter. She faced a death penalty if convicted. Prosecutors began their case by saying Anjette killed everyone involved for one reason and one reason only: money. Her weapon of choice? Arsenic. It was odorless and tasteless, And needless to say, the very same food that people lined up for was the very way that she killed those who meant the most to her. Anjette Lyles never took the stand in her own defense, and she also claimed that everyone took her acting and her words out of context. Many employees testified about how Anjette told her daughter Marcia that she would kill her. They also noted how after the deaths of these people, Anjette popped up with new cars, fancy clothes, everything. When the jury was sent away, it took them no time to find Anjette Lyles guilty of all 4 murders. She was originally sentenced to die within the year, but was found to be completely insane. Anjette Lyles will spend the next 20 years at the State Mental Hospital in Milledgeville, Georgia. While some claim she played the fool in order to not die, others claim she was really insane. Anjette Lyles would die on December 4th, 1977 in the State Hospital in